All the properties of whole number multiplication studied previously are also true for fraction multiplication. These include the commutative property, the associative property, and the multiplicative identity property. There is also an additional property called the multiplicative inverse property, which I'll get to in a moment. The commutative property of multiplication is that when you have two fractions, it doesn't matter the order that you multiply them in. So it doesn't matter which fraction is first when you multiply. So 3/7 times 5/2 is the same thing as 5/2 times 3/7. A over B times C over D is the same thing as C over D times A over B, assuming that B and D are not 0. The associative property is when you have three or more fractions together that are all being multiplied. It doesn't matter which pair of fractions you multiply first. So the product of fractions does not depend on how the factors are grouped. So the 3/4 times 5/8 could be first, then times 6/7, or the 5/8 times 6/7 could be first, and then times by 3/4. The multiplicative identity property is that when you multiply by 1, you're still going to end up with the fraction. So 3/8 times 1 is 3/8. 1 times 5/7 is 5/7. A over B times 1 is A over B. 1 times A over B is A over B. The new one is the multiplicative inverse property, and this is one that the whole numbers didn't have. Every non-zero fraction has a multiplicative inverse, or reciprocal, such that the product of the fraction and its multiplicative inverse gives you 1. So 3/5 times 5/3 is 1, since that's going to be 15 over 15. A over B times B over A comes out to be 1 as well. So find the reciprocal. If I start with 6, you could think of it as 6 over 1. So the reciprocal would be 1 over 6. If my fraction is 7 over 10, the reciprocal would be 10 over 7. The negative does not affect the reciprocal, so negative 2 over 11 is negative 11 over 2. Reciprocals are only for non-zero fractions, so this one, there is no reciprocal. So if I want to multiply, 3/4 times 4/3 is 12 over 12. This is 1. That's the multiplicative inverse property. 8/9 times 1 is still 8/9. That's the multiplicative identity property. -9/2 and -2/9, those are reciprocals of each other. So you'll end up with 18 over 18, or 1. In the United States House of Representatives, a bill was introduced that would require 3/5 vote of the 435 members to authorize any tax increase. Under this requirement, how many representatives would have to vote for a tax increase before it becomes law? Well, 3/5, there's the 3/5. The word of is multiplication, and then 435 over 1. So this is going to be 3 times 435 over 5 times 1. So 3 times 435 gives us 1,305. And if I divide by 5, I get 261. So it comes out to be 261. So 261 representatives would have to vote for the tax increase before it becomes law. Now the area of a triangle is 1/2 the product of its base and height. So as a formula, the base is one edge of the triangle, and the height is from that edge to the point on the corner on the other side. So area is 1/2 base times height, or 1/2 times b times h. So if I want to approximate the area of the state of Virginia, given here, where it looks like the base is about 405 miles, and the height from the base to the corner at the top is about 200 miles. Well, the area then would be 1/2 times the base of 405, put 405 over 1, times 200 over 1. Again, Commutative and associative properties. I can rearrange the, well, commutative properties, I can rearrange this as 1/2 times 200 over 1. And the associative property tells me I can multiply the 1/2 and 200 first. 1/2 of 200 is 100. And 405, I'll just write 405. 405 times 100 is just the 405 with 2 more zeros. So 40,500 square miles.